good evening, folks. It is evening where I'm at, and I do thank you all for watching, and I do thank all my subscribers. And of course, you're looking at that piece of stainless right there that's going to attach to the back side of the transom. And of course, the process of getting the transom ready so I can install that outboard right there, that process is still going on. I've just got a lot of work to do. And as you can see right there, I've been busy countersinking all my fastener holes. Now, yeah, I could have gone with button heads, pan head screws, and just made a whole lot less work for myself, but I think that just looks a whole lot cleaner right there. By the time we get all those attached, it's just going to be a nice flush surface. Now, we'll have a couple of button head Chicago screws protruding from the back side here in 5 places, and that is to attach the inboard piece. And like I said, I'm going to use Chicago screws for that, and that is so we can get these pieces right here aligned with each other, so these holes are in perfect alignment, so that when I go to drill that hole through the transom, and remember that is for the overboard through hull drain that's going to install right there. That's so we don't end up with something like that. And so, we do want to use these 5 holes right here as index holes, those 5. And I've already drilled those same 5 holes in this piece. I drilled those, when I drilled this up, I drilled those back to back. And so I match drilled all 5 of these holes. Got them circled there. I will not countersink these. It'll save me a little bit of work anyway. Like I said, those Chicago screws. Well, let me just show you what I'm talking about. Okay. Now, these holes are not final sized yet, but this kind of gives you an idea of what I'm talking about. And I'm going to have to step these holes up on the backside plate right here just a little bit so that these will drop in. But I will have these button heads like this in 5 places, and they're all circled right there. And again, that's just so we can get this piece aligned with this piece, so we can get that hole aligned with that hole. All right, I got to get back to work. I got a whole lot more countersinking to do. I'll be right back. Okay, we'll slow it down right there. And what you saw me doing with that flashlight when I was shining that light down, up, let's pan back. Okay, what you saw me doing with that flashlight when I was shining it down on top and looking down at the top of this screw right here, I'm looking at the ring on the outside of the outside diameter of that screw head. And I want to make sure that that little ring, and of course that's produced by the cutter right there, that countersink tool, and I want to make sure that ring is about the same size for each one of these screw holes. So when I drop that screw in right there, you can see that ring. Let me see if I can get that flashlight to, there we go. You can see that little dark ring. It's about the same in that hole as it is in this one. And of course, when you're countersinking, you're always going to countersink just a little bit wider than the screw head, and that's so that screw head will sit down in there nice and flush. Now, it does protrude just a tiny bit, maybe 3 or 4 thousandths right now, but when I draw that down, that's when I go to attach this and draw that screw down, it's going to pull that head down into that countersink, and that should be nice and flush when I'm done. All right, folks, I've just got a bunch more. All right, I will be back later. Slowly but surely, we're getting there. All right, back at it. So we are all done. I will come back with the palm sander and some 400 grit sandpaper later on and hit that. This is just kind of just to clean it up and deburr all the edges. What you saw there with that die grinder. That's it. One down, one to go. Okay, so I'm ready to position the inboard piece, and I've already started the first hole, and I've got my drill block in place. So let's finish drilling that first hole. Okay, with that hole drilled, that will index the piece on the back side of the stern. All right, I'm going to drill the rest of those holes, and we'll be back in a moment. Okay, so before I drill this next hole, I'm going to double check all my measurements. If it's off this way, if it's clocked wrong, now is the time to fix it. We can pivot it around the center hole. So I'm going to double check those measurements before I drill this outboard hole, and once I get that hole completed, then I can go ahead and lay the piece on the back side and pick up the rest of my holes. All right, I'll be right back. All right, so I'm going to start by drilling into the transom there, maybe by about 1/4 inch, and that's just so I can get enough material out of the way so I can get this guide block in place. All right, let me get started on that. I'm just going to find something that has a 1/4 inch shaft on it. Now that's 1/4 inch hole. That's 1/4 inch, perfect. And what we're going to do, see if you can see this, I'm going to get my hand out of the way. Just going to make sure that sets in there like so. Spin it around. I'm going to get a clamp on it. Now my hand's probably in the way right there. Okay. So I've got that down inside that little bit of a hole I just drilled there. I just need to get a clamp on that block now. And we're just going to use one of these. And that's a guide block that keeps the drill bit square. That's what that's for. I'll double check that here in just a moment. Get this good and tight. Okay. Just going to kind of check it with my thumbnail there. Yep, it is going through all of that. And like I said, this gives us, the purpose of this guide block is so we get a good perpendicular hole. And the drill bit's not going off that way or that way. Okay. I'm going to do something a little different than I did that last time. We're going to put a backer. We're going to put a backer on that transom before I crash through. Okay. The hole is going to be right about in that area there. Right, my hand might get in the way. I can't do anything about it. Might be seeing all arm right there. Alright, we're through. And as you can see, that did make for a lot cleaner exit hole. Alright, I will get the rest of these drilled up a little bit later. I've got to run some errands right now. I will be back. Okay folks, I'm back. And I finished drilling these 5 holes right here. And when I got done with those and mounted this piece of stainless right up here to the back end. And I'm trying to do this with one hand. Actually, let me do it this way. Y'all be patient. Alright. Let's just run it in there. Get that level. It's actually a little bit off center, and I thought I had that measured, had that on center, but it's off. Not very much, less than 1/8 of an inch, but it is enough to be noticeable. That gap right there is wider than that gap right there. From the edge of that stainless steel plate to the edge of this piece of wood right here. Same over here. The gap's just a little bit narrower. That means that plate's ever so slightly off center. So how am I going to fix that? Well, real easy. Somewhere around here I have a piece of 1/4 inch wooden dowel, and this is oak right here, and I'm just going to go ahead and we're just going to plug those holes, wood glue those in there, and then set that piece back in place. And I'll kind of use those for an index mark, but I'll know to slide that piece of stainless over just a little bit to the right hand side once these pieces have dried, and then we're just going to have to re-drill it. I'll also probably come in and dress that up, those raw ends, with some thickened epoxy. I'll have that stainless steel plate covering that, so that won't be noticeable. But yes, I am going to have to re-drill these holes. Minor setback, but nothing we can't recover from. Alright, I'll be back. Okay, that's what I was talking about right there. I had to fill up those holes. I did use that wooden dowel rod, 1/4 inch dowel rod. And like I said, we're just going to have to move that panel over just a little bit, that piece of stainless steel plate, and re-drill the holes. There is a wooden dowel rod in each one of those holes. I just came back and capped them with a little bit of that epoxy. That's why it's got that kind of that whitish look to it right there. Same as the epoxy. Alright, same story as always. We gotta let that dry. Okay, take two. I've got this plate repositioned now. Of course, all the holes are plugged. I did that last night, and that just looks a whole lot better. It was off just a little bit, less than 1/8 of an inch. I would guess maybe closer to 3/32 of an inch, but it was noticeable. And so, like I said, I just plugged the holes, and we're going to re-drill. Like I said, take two. Okay, we got those 5 holes, pan back, got those 5 holes drilled, and those are the 5 that will go all the way through for the Chicago screws, and they will clamp to that piece that goes inside here. And that piece is laying over here somewhere. I just saw it a moment ago. Yep, right here. Threw a bunch of junk on top of it. There we go. Like I said, this of course is the piece that's going to be attached on this inboard face right here. So I'm going to get my clamps off here shortly, and we're going to make sure all the holes are lined. I did take a little bit of a gamble. I did not have that piece in place right there while I was drilling all those, but I'm fairly confident that we got those holes nice and perpendicular. Alright, I'll be right back. And just like that, we've got good alignment there. I do have one over here, ever so slightly off, maybe by about, I don't know, 5 or 10 thousandths, but we're going to fix that here real quick. That is a 250 reamer. Don't ask me where I got that. And we're just going to pop that out the other side right there. And just like that. Now all 5 holes are aligned. Okay, next, these holes on the inboard side have to be stepped up to like 5/16, and then we got to counter bore these holes from the inside, and again that's for the nuts on the Chicago screws. Alright, I'll be right back when that's done. Okay, now for the fun part. I've got to bore that hole, or that through hole drain fitting. Oh man, there's a screw right there. Alrighty, well that's what a through hole drain fitting looks like when installed. And so now we're going to go ahead and get this inboard plate sized up for those Chicago screws. Okay, yeah, inboard plate. We're going to go ahead and get that sized up for the Chicago screws now. And once I get all of that done, I got to take those back off. We got to fiberglass and paint this area. Alright, I'll see you in the next segment. Okay, so that is what it's going to look like when it's done. Like I said, I got to take all this back off, lay some fiberglass over this, prime it and paint it. And on the outside here, I'm not quite finished with this piece right here just yet. I've got to countersink these holes. I've got 5 more holes to countersink. I've got to countersink them to these 1/4 inch fasteners right here. And so, but that's it though, man. I've been at this pretty much all day. I'm beat. I'm tired. It's not even dark out yet, but I'm calling it a day right there, man. Like I said, I'm just wore out, ragged, tired. So I will see y'all later. Okay, folks, I am back. Good morning, and this is what it's going to look like once it's completed. I will cut this off a little bit right here. I'll cut these threads off. We'll shorten that up, and then I'll use leveling compound right in this area to bring that up to the bottom of this hole right here for drainage. Alright, I will have to pull this back off here momentarily, but I do have all my holes pre-drilled for the screws, for the wood screws, and so now it's time to disassemble everything and get this fiberglassed. I will be back. Okay, folks, I just finished laying fiberglass over the top of this transom right up here where the outboard is going to mount. And the idea is to get this area, at least, get it primed and painted. And of course I still have some glass work to do to the float pods. But I want to get this area primed and painted so I can hang the outboard. And then I can kind of work around that and then just start working forward. I still have that piece of stainless over here somewhere. Yeah, oh, right there. And I've got to finish countersinking it. And I was working on that this afternoon. The countersink just finally went dull, started chattering real bad, and I said, that's it, it's gone. I mean, you know, look at how many holes I've countersunk with that countersink bit. So went and got a new one, and we will resume that little operation tomorrow. I will see you then. Okay folks, I'm back, and I've been busy off camera, and as you may recall, when I bonded this little piece in right here, I had a gap on each of the corners right there, left hand and right hand sides, and I needed to fill that gap and then blend this area in to get that radius right there. And that's what I've been doing. Last night I made some wood plugs for these corners, and then used some epoxy to blend that in, and I just spent about the last hour or two sanding that out, getting that smooth, and I've got that blended into this radius right here now on both sides. The only thing left now is to finish the fiberglass work. Once the fiberglass work is complete, then we'll be ready to ferret out, prime it, and paint it. All right, I will be back. Okay folks, I am back, and as part of finishing all of this out right here, I need to finish out these float pods. The time has come. I need to finish laying glass on them so that when I paint all of this, I can go ahead and paint this at the same time. All right, I need to get busy on that. I shall return. Okay folks, that one is done. I still have to glass that float pod on the left side. As you can see, yeah, I got a mess there. I'm not going to mess with that tonight. We'll go ahead and get that one done tomorrow, and then when I get that pod glassed, we'll go ahead and end that video right there, and we'll just pick everything up in the next video. So that is it for the night. I'm going to go ahead and let this fire off. I'll check on it in the morning. I will see you then. Okay folks, I am done. I just finished laying down the fiberglass on this float pod over here on the left hand side. I did that one previously. But like I said, this is a good stopping point, so we're going to go ahead and wrap this one up right here. That fiberglass resin is still wet over here, so it'll be a while before that sets up. Anyway, I still have a lot of work to do, so I do thank all of you for watching. I thank all of my subscribers, and as I always say, God bless each and every one of you. Blessed be the name of the Lord. We will see you next time.